Mr. President, I just want to echo what the chairman of the Armed Services Committee said with regard to this upcoming vote. It's actually a very important vote. And I think that when you look at the leadership of the UAE and what they've done, I mean, we are seeing major peace agreements between our traditional Gulf Arab allies and Israel. And this is really significant. This is a whole different approach to addressing some of the long-term challenges with regard to the Middle East, and it's starting to work. And I think it's imperative that this body, particularly at this time, send a message of support to countries and leaders, UAE in particular, given this upcoming vote, that have taken risks. Leadership sometimes requires taking risks, and we know that the history in the Middle East is sometimes when you have countries and leaders that take risks with regard to peace with Israel, those leaders can actually have dire consequences. Look what happened in Egypt after that peace agreement with their leaders. So I think it's very important that we as a body, in a bipartisan, strong way, come down and support not just the progress that's been made in the region, but also the broader strategic realignment that's happening. And why is that happening? Because we've all recognized the United States, Israel, our traditional Gulf Arab allies, our traditional Arab allies in the region, that the biggest challenge and biggest threat in the region is the terrorist regime in Iran, which is the biggest challenge and biggest threat to peace and security in the region. And so there's been enormous progress. The President and his team deserve a lot of the credit. Rebuilding our military deserves a lot of credit, which we've all done here. But we need to send a signal that policies that have been tried before, particularly policies that appease the largest state sponsor of terrorism in the world, don't work. The policies of strength, the policies of standing together, Israel, United States, our traditional Arab allies, that's what's working. And that's what's bringing peace. So this vote that's going to happen soon is a lot more than just a vote on weapons sales. It's a vote on this body helping cement the reorientation in the region towards peace and towards recognizing what the challenge is. And that challenge that we all face is the biggest terrorist regime in the world that threatens the United States, threatens Israel, threatens the UAE, threatens Saudi Arabia, and that's why we need a strong vote in the way the chairman of the Armed Services Committee just talked about. So I'm fully supportive where he is, and I'm hopeful that this body votes for continued peace and strength, particularly as it relates to the terrorist regime in Iran, and not send the wrong signal to our friends and allies, particularly when historic progress, and yes, it's been historic progress, is being made in the region. I yield the floor.